working! At long last, the world will have a way to recycle butter!
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 video game character changes that made fans rage quit.
We did it!
Who brought the thunder? This guy.
For this list, we'll be looking at changes to the design of characters in video games that garnered an adverse reaction from fans. What do you guys think of these changes? Are there any baffling ones that we missed? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Cole McGrath, Infamous 2. You know you've done something wrong when the backlash to a character change is so significant, the company is forced to return it to the original. The protagonist of Infamous was an iconic, raspy-voiced, mostly bald anti-hero, so when this new guy appeared, it completely bewildered audiences. In Infamous 2, he came back with a full head of hair and tattoos in what might be reminiscent of Naughty Dog's Nathan Drake. The reason behind the change didn't matter. Fans rejected this design, and Sucker Punch reverted to the first design. Number 9. Prince of Persia, Prince of Persia. When Ubisoft released Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time in 2003, audiences were wowed by the combat and time-reversing mechanics. But as the sequels came out, the charismatic and swashbuckling prince became darker and edgier with each iteration. By the time The Warrior Within came out, the series had become so dark and bloody that it robbed the character of his charisma and likability. It was practically a different genre of game. While the reboot of the series in 2008 was met with mostly positive reviews, it wasn't able to capture the magic enough to warrant continuing the prince's adventures.
What is one grain of sand?
Number 8. Pac-Man, Pac-Land. Pac-Man became an arcade legend because of two simple things: his addictive but easy-to-approach gameplay and basic design. Kids didn't think twice why a pizza-looking circle was going waka waka and eating ghosts because they didn't need to. It was weird enough that Pac-Man was placed into what we can only assume was an attempt to capitalize on the platforming trend. But why did Namco think it was a good idea to give him a feather cap, legs, and worst of all, a Pinocchio-like nose? You hit gold with the first design, guys. There's no need to give this guy a massive sniffer on top of his gargantuan-sized mouth. Number 7. Conquer the Squirrel, Young Conquer.
Conquer the king. King of all the land. Who'd have thought that?
Whenever a company owns the rights to an old but popular character, sometimes they'll just leave it gathering dust until they want to tack it onto a new product. Unfortunately, that's precisely what happened with the Microsoft HoloLens and poor Conker. If you played Rare's genre-blending adult platformer, you'd know Conker's mean tendencies all too well. But when Microsoft decided to port him over to their new mixed reality smart glasses, they completely trashed his design. He looked like something you would see on a kids channel, airbrushed to hell. While Chris Seaver did return to voice the character, the design, on top of the HoloLens's inaccessible price point, meant that young Conker never stood a chance.
Oh, heck!
Number 6. Crash Bandicoot, Crash of the Titans. Crash Bandicoot is a legend among video game fans of the 2000s and arguably still one of Naughty Dog's most uniquely designed characters. His unhinged but foolish demeanor was accompanied by an equally harebrained appearance, which accompanied him throughout the PlayStation era. But the problem with handing iconic characters off to new developers is that you can't control how they will use them. So Radical Entertainment attempted to give Crash what seemed to be a cooler feel, tattoos included. While it remained for Crash Mind Over Mutant, this redesign didn't stick for very long, with Crash returning to form for the Insane trilogy. Number 5. Spyro, Skylanders, Spyro's Adventure. Spyro was one of the many mascot characters that came out of the golden age of PlayStation platforming games. He was instantly recognizable with his unique, approachable, and cartoonish aesthetic. While he did fall out of the mainstream, his return in Skylanders offered the opportunity for fans to play with the beloved purple dragon yet again. But then he showed up almost unrecognizable. Whatever his redesign was trying to do, it failed. While they might have been trying to make him more dragon-like, they completely stripped the character of his old likability, making him into a frighteningly goofy mess. Number 4. Knuckles. Sonic Boom: The Rise of Lyric.
I despise anyone who takes jewels from me. All the world's gems are mine to keep.
Yeah, we'll see about that, Batgirl.
Sonic has gone through countless console generations with tiny tweaks to his design and gameplay. While his too cool for school aesthetic has remained consistent throughout all of these iterations, some creative choices have baffled audiences. Remember when Sonic was a werewolf? Yikes. Having not learned from any of this, when Sega decided to bring Sonic and gang up to date with the times, their solution was to throw on a bunch of bandages, turn them into bland one-dimensional versions of themselves, and, for some reason, stretch Knuckles into a giant. While the animated series has its good points, fans were unhappy with what they did to Knuckles' design. Number 3. Bomberman. Bomberman Act 0. One of the standard practices when modernizing a popular game is to give it plenty of edge. The more dark shadows and drama, the better. Of course, you'd never do that to a colorful character like Mario. So why do it to Bomberman? With the release of Hudson Soft's Bomberman Act 0, the feeling was unrecognizable. Now, instead of his adorable and simplistic aesthetic, we have a generic and gritty power armor anti-hero set in a dystopian future. It wouldn't be controversial to say this isn't Bomberman. Not even close. Number 2. Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. The Banjo-Kazooie games have contained excellent platforming and collectathon gameplay, with Banjo's friendliness complemented by Kazooie's biting wit, all set in a rich and comically cheesy world. Rare struck the tone just right, but after the second Banjo game on Nintendo 64, the series vanished, with fans eager to play a sequel. They thought they had their answer with Nuts and Bolts, but how wrong they were. What was released was a mess of a game that completely misunderstood what the core game's appeal was. And to top it all off, the more modern-looking forms seemed just out of place, along with flanderized versions of the characters' personalities. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Dante, DMC, Devil May Cry.
Sword. Time to go to work, guys.
It wasn't a simple hair dye job that angered fans on this one. It was a complete reshuffle of the character. Dante has had his design evolve since the first game in the series, but has always stayed true to his careless personality. After Devil May Cry 4 was released, Capcom had decided to reboot the character with a not very respectful nod to his origins. Dante was no longer the sarcastic badass people had come to know, but instead came across as try-hard and juvenile. This wasn't taken very well, leading to the game receiving a lot of flack. Luckily, DMC5 would come around to set the record straight.
I'm your prom date, you ugly sack of shit.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.